Today, I want to tell you about another music project of mine, the acoustic duo Sour Bounty, formerly known as Lefty and the Spaniard. My partner in this venture is Vincent Searfoss, an amazing banjo player from the States who, as fate or coincidence would have it, ended up in the same advanced Chinese class as me during our language training program. That's how it all started, back in 2014. It was a tiny class of 6, and Vinny and I were the only ones with a musical second life, so we became good friends almost instantly and started making music together almost immediately. I nearly forgot about it, but I was reminded recently that our first jam in my dorm room was actually carried out in Chinese. That, in light of how close we became and how good communication is the cornerstone of our friendship, is just plain ridiculous. And that was probably me overdoing the good Chinese student thing by not letting go a single opportunity to practice. If I remember correctly, one of the first songs we worked on together was an instrumental original of mine called Nautilus, which eventually became the 12th song of our self-titled debut album. But don't get the wrong idea. I sing in most of the songs, and most of the instrumental ones are his compositions. But somehow this is the one we started with, and also the first one we recorded. We took things easy at the beginning, with no particular purpose in mind, but to make nice songs together. We didn't even bother with a name until much later. At some point, we got the chance to play weekly in a tiny joint called Old Time. As we needed a long repertoire, we started working on covers as well as taking things more and more seriously. Before we knew it, we were recruiting our good friend Vladis Stanojevic to record and mix our first album. As poor master students on a scholarship, our budget was limited, but our friend's talent and ingenuity was limitless. So thanks to his ear and skills, and a makeshift recording booth that he devised out of soundproof foam and some sticks and cardboard, we found ourselves ears deep in the process of recording an album and getting our name out there, while trying to make sense of life in exile and not lose our heads in the process. The album was finally finished in mid-2019 and released just a few days after attending Vladis' wedding in his homeland, Macedonia. It was a memorable summer for more than one reason. Once the album was out, our next task at hand was making the sound bigger, with more people on stage. Luckily, we could count on our friend Teddy Strings as he was in town that year, as well as another great Ghanaian musician, Victus, aka Lautveki, also a student at our alma mater, Dalian University of Technology. They joined us on stage for a number of performances for the remainder of that year, on percussion and bass respectively. Sour Bounty shed its humble duo skin and grew a shinier one. But the core remained the same, good friends making good music together and having a great time, while showing to some very miscellaneous Chinese crowds a thing or two about banjo music and Latin passion. And then COVID hit. It caught Vinny back home on vacation, and he hasn't been able to come back since. Sour Bounty is on hold until further notice. We are working on the remote recording of our second album, but in my opinion, the band won't be really alive again, or revived, if you will, until we can play together again. I think Vinny would agree. Looking back, it's been quite a ride, a really fun one, with such a good buddy. You see, when your buddy has an absurd sense of humor that will make you laugh until you choke on a regular basis, and you get to spend a lot of time with that buddy because you are making music together, life is good. He's a crazy one, Vinny is. And life is less good without his presence, let me tell you that. Oh well, what can you do? For the sake of the world and for the sake of my band, let's hope a solution will be found sooner than later. And in the meantime, please stay safe, everybody.